kwamba anakuja kung'oa na kubomoa estate yetu. Na hii estate sisi vile tunajua tumekaa hapa over 15 years na ilipeanwa na Mheshimiwa Rais Moi mwenyewe na ilikuwa mali ya umma, haikuwa mali ya mtu binafsi. Sasa vile huyu ametabeli serikali amekuja na documents zingine ya kuonyesha kwamba hii shamba ni lake, ndio wakaachwa wameshangaa sana. Lakini much more tunashukuru Mheshimiwa Rais na tunamuomba ya kwamba katika agenda yake ya 4 ya kuangalia Kenya wako na nyumba zao, housing. Kuna huyu jamaa amekuja na agenda 5 ya kung'oa. Tunamuomba Mheshimiwa mahali popote alipo, zizi zote tunataka kumsupport sana katika agenda 4, lakini huyu jamaa mwenye anataka kungolea watu, kuna watu wamechenga na nyumba na pesa yao ya kustaafu, wengine hata hawakuwa na mahali ya kuenda, vitu silingolewa, vitu zingine zimefunikwa hapo. So ni hasara kubwa kwa taifa letu. Na tunaomba wale ambao wanafanya, we want to ask those relevant agencies katika nchi yetu waangalia kwamba watabeli kama hawa wasipate nafasi, kwa sababu mtu anaenda anapata title deed kwa miaka 2, na tunajua hii shamba imekuwa over 10 years, over 15 years bila hao wamechenga. Hizi nyumba zimejengwa over 20 years. Alikuwa wapi mpaka anakuja saa hii within 1 year anasema title deed yako naye? Kwa hivyo tunataka kushukuru na nyinyi watu wa media pia, kwa sababu mnatusaidia ili Kenya ione ya kwamba still kuna watu wako na agenda 5 ya kubomoa mali ya wananchi.
Na kuna there's been concern that have been raised that the tenants of this place, not basically tenants, people who've been developing this land, do not have legitimate title deeds. Is that the case?
That is not the case, because if it could have been the case, then we could have not had the agencies like the county. The county has invested here. We have the drainage system that has been developed here. We have the Kenya Power. Those are agencies by the government. That means the land is legitimate. These people have their lands legitimately. So the issue that they have not been concerned, it is just an issue whereby politics is developing its own course. But we are thankful that as it goes now, given that now the president has said no demolition until further notice, we expect nobody, not even those who want to grab this area, to come here and raise another havoc that has already been caused here.
All right, Gladys, you've heard it right from the horse's mouth. Of course, as the year commences, they expect no demolitions to take place. Of course, going with the directive by the president. Of course, we'll be following this up just to see if that will be the case going into the year. Of course, also looking across the country, if demolitions, of course, that have been happening will continue to take place. And of course, the government saying that it plans to launch, of course, the affordable housing program, which is part of the agenda for President Uhuru Kenyatta's second term. So all this will be putting into perspective just to let Kenyans know what exactly is happening. Back to you, Gladys.
Thank you, Silas Apollo, speaking to us from Kayole. That controversial land in Kayole where flats were demolished towards the end of last year. Residents are actually back and even developing their structures even after the government stopped the demolition. And the owner is saying he still will contest the same. We'll keep an eye on the same and bring you up to speed as and when we get the details. Now, away from land matters, and police in Changamwe this morning raided 2 motor spare parts shops at Magongo Mwisho and recovered motor vehicle components valued at 5 million shillings. Police believe that the spare parts might have been stolen within various areas in Changamwe following a recent wave of theft, especially those targeting motor vehicles. Changamwe OCPD Peter Omanwe, who led officers in the operation, said they recovered parts mostly for Mercedes-Benz trucks that are highly valued in the market.
Recovered here from the information and the records that we have, it's approximately 5 million. So far, we have not made an arrest, but we are tracking the owners of those, because you can see they have identified, but they are within Changamwe, and we shall be able to catch up with them.
To Kajiado County, and the Governor Joseph Lenku claims some leaders in the county are inciting members of the public to engage in violence. The Governor is asking police to act firmly against such individuals who are a threat to peaceful coexistence. The alleged incitement could be as a result of political realignment that is taking shape in the county ahead of the 2022 elections. Speaking in Kitengela, Lenku said some leaders are using incitement to prop up their political careers, and sources within within security circles tell NTV that a member of parliament from the county is being investigated for incitement.
Nasikia kuna kiongozi anatembea kuchochea watu. Hii ni kabila hii, vitina mingi, siasa ya chuki. Kenya tumekatana nayo. Sababu ya handshake ni kusema Wakenya hawatapigana kwa kuwa na maoni tofauti kisiasa. Mheshimiwa Rais, sisi tulimbaki yeye na Jubilee. Mzee wetu Raila alikuwa mrengo ile ingine, lakini wamekuja kusema watu hawatapigana kwa sababu ya tofauti zao.
Back to the coast, and hundreds of tourists visiting Watamu in North Mombasa have rated the resort town as the best destination in Kenya for its pristine white sandy beaches. A spot check on the 25-kilometer beach along Watamu Marine National Park showed both local and international tourists flocking in large numbers for their New Year holidays. In recent times, the coastal town has been overshadowed by Malindi in tourist attraction sites, but business is now expected to remain high until April 2019.
Business is booming in Watamu as local and international tourists enjoy the New Year holidays. Both investors and tourists in Watamu say the town is a perfect holiday destination for those keen on luxury and comfort away from their homes.
Until a few years ago, the tourism, Kenya tourism everybody, most of them go to Nyali, to Mombasa, and don't come to Watamu. Now with this event, I hope that the people from Nairobi, Nakuru, Kisumu, Mombasa know that exists in Watamu.
This is one of the best places I have ever seen. The beach is amazing, and the environment is wonderful. You can enjoy also low tide and high tide, and the panorama is really wonderful.
Although Watamu has not been very popular with tourists as other coastal towns, the rates have skyrocketed as hotel managements recorded 150 tourists per week in December, spilling into the new year.
Everything here is pole-pole, everything is relaxed. Trip to Africa really changes your point of view on the world, seriously, because how we live, what we complain about when we are home, just the trip from the airport Mombasa to Watamu makes you realize things that you don't really get to see in our home countries.
The yet-to-be-completed Malindi Airport is expected to boost the economy, with more tourists expected from new markets such as Bangkok. Melmiendo, NTV.
Now, hundreds of ranch members in Noboisho and Mara North Conservancies staged demonstrations of what they call poor management by Conservancy officials in Narok West. The members are opposed to the formation of a new entity, the Greater Mara Management Limited, citing a lack of transparency in its operations within the conservancies. They are also alleging oppression from the company's current management. Narok County Commissioner George Natembeya has in the recent past warned private conservancies against oppressing communities that have set aside land for conservation.
Kuna wazee wameshikana wakatoa mashamba yao iko na wanyamapori, lakini the management agreements zingine sio mzuri. Hiyo vitu tunapata watu wameweka mashamba yao iko na wanyama wa pori, wanachunga wanyama wa pori, lakini the returns, ile pesa ambayo wakulima wanapata ni kidogo sana.
Ile mabadiliko ambayo watu wanataka kutuletea management ya GMM tumekataa. Hiyo tumesema kamwe hatutaki. Ya pili, ningependa kusema kikundi hiki haiko kinyume na hifadhi.
Wanakuja kunyanyasa sisi, wanataka kuchukua bila kujulisha wenyewe, na ni hiyo kitu ndio tumekataa kabisa. Ya pili, sasa wanathreaten members zetu kwamba ile mtu ambayo hataki kuingia hiyo mamvuli yao wanakata pesa ama utasafungia pesa isipate ndio apate kufungia hiyo pesa isipate.
To Tana River, and the Governor Dado Godana has rolled out the roadmap for development and administration of the county for the year 2019. This includes completion and construction of livestock markets to improve trade and revenue collection.
We have also reviewed our revenue sources, and we are recruiting more staff to be able to ensure that we have no tax leakages. So I expect that towards the end of next year, it is possible that we beat the 100 million mark. We are confident now than before that our local revenue base is rising sharply towards the figure that any other Kenyan can believe in.
Further afield now, Brazil's newly inaugurated President Jair Bolsonaro says his goal is to restore order as he vowed to tackle corruption, crime and economic mismanagement in Latin America's largest nation. Bolsonaro, a former army captain turned lawmaker who openly admires Brazil's 1964 to 1985 military dictatorship, promised in his first remarks as president to adhere to democratic norms after his tirades against the media and political opponents had starred unease.
On 1st January
which resulted to the government shutting down the internet. Barnabe Kikaya bin Karubi, a senior advisor to President Joseph Kabila, said the internet and SMS services were cut to preserve public order after fictitious results began circulating on social media and would remain cut until the publication of complete results on January 6th. The opposition says the election was marred by fraud and accused Kabila of planning to rule from the sidelines through his preferred candidate, former Interior Minister Emmanuel Ramazani Shadari. Elsewhere, Qatar has withdrawn from the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, after almost 6 decades in the oil cartel. The Middle East nation said that it is leaving to focus on liquefied natural gas production, a sector it excels in. With Qatar generating less than 2% of the cartel's output and ranking as the 11th of the 15 OPEC members, experts say that Qatar's exit will not really affect the global oil prices. However, the exit has ruffled the Asian front and is deemed to be a political move aimed at Saudi Arabia and other Gulf nations it has not been in good terms with. OPEC has responded that they respect Qatar's decision following the news of the withdrawal. Qatar's energy minister Saad Al-Kaabi Said Doha plans to increase its output to 110 million tons by 2024 while phasing out its oil production. The United States and Israel have officially quit the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO. The two countries quit the UN agency at the stroke of midnight on New Year's Day, culminating a process triggered more than a year ago. The withdrawal, which has been termed by observers as mainly procedural, serves a new blow to UNESCO, which was co-founded by the US after World War II to foster peace. The administration of President Donald Trump filed its notice to withdraw in October 2017, and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu followed suit, accusing the UN agency of anti-Israel bias. UNESCO has previously criticized Israel's occupation of East Jerusalem and granted full membership to Palestine in 2011. UNESCO is best known for its work to preserve heritage, including maintaining a list of World Heritage Sites and programs to promote education in developing countries. Warothe Kiru is in studio with the sporting action.
Niaje, want to invest in a biashara that will take your hustle to the...
Time to play on NTV at 1. I am Warothe Kiru. There is a full buffet of Kenyan Premier League action this afternoon, with leaders Mathare United looking to continue their good start when they host struggling KCB at the Kasarani Stadium. These as defending champions, Gor Mahia seek to bounce back from their surprise 1-0 loss to Karabangi Sharks when they welcome Chimilel Sugar at the Kenyatta Stadium in Machakos. Bottom of the table, Mount Kenya United are in the hunt for their first win of the season when they tackle unbeaten Sharks in the early kickoff, which has already started at the same venue. New coach at Posta Rangers, John Kamau, starts his reign with a tie against AFC Leopards at Afraha Stadium in Nakuru. Second place, Western Stima hosts Sofapaka in Kisumu. Bandari are away to Zoo, while Tusker hosts Vihiga at the Ruaraka grounds. Tennis coach Rosemary Owino is among 5 top tacticians who will be battling it out to be named the Coach of the Year during the Safaricom Sport Personality of the Year Awards Soya Gala to be held in Mombasa County on January 11th. Owino guided Kenya's team back to Davis Cup Euro Africa Group 2 Tennis Championship after 13 years. Kenya Leonesses coach Kevin Bling Wambua led the Leonesses to their first ever Africa Sevens title, as well as the Cup semi-finals of the Women's World Series qualifiers. Telkom hockey team coach Jos Openda, who has won the coveted award before, will be hoping to bag it once again after a fabulous outing in 2018. KCB rugby coach Curtis Olago, who was disappointed at not bagging the award last time out, will be seeking to bank it this year. Completing the shortlist is Kenya Prison's women volleyball team coach Joseph Barata. The Soya Gala, which has been co-sponsored by Mombasa County, will be held at Fort Jesus. Across the borders, and Tottenham cruised to a 3-0 victory at Cardiff City in the late kickoff on New Year's Day, with the win moving them back to second in the English Premier League. Spurs had a point to prove after their title credentials were dented by a home loss to Wolves on Saturday. South Africa's Thembi Kgatlana Oshoala has won the last 2 CAF awards and 3 in total, and along with Odega helped the Super Falcons win the Women's Africa Cup of Nations in 2018. It will be a tight vote, as Kgatlana was the most valuable player and top scorer at the Nations Cup, as Banyana narrowly lost out to Nigeria on penalties in the final. The male and female awards is voted for by national team coaches and captains of CAF 56 member associations. The winner will be announced in Dakar, Senegal, in a week's time. Kawhi Leonard scored a career-high 45 points as the Toronto Raptors beat the Utah Jazz 122-116 in New Year's Day NBA action. Damian Lillard shook off a sluggish night, shooting to score 5 of his 25 points in overtime as the Portland Trail Blazers rallied to beat Sacramento Kings 113-. Clean 5th Tour de France crown. Kenyan-born Britton Froome won his 3rd straight Grand Tour title with victory at the Giro last May, before the champion finished 3rd at the Tour, which was won by teammate Granit Thomas. Thomas has also opted out of the Giro, confirming that he will also focus his Tour title defense as well as the Time Trial World Championships. The British-based outfit's owner and sponsor, broadcaster Sky, confirmed last month that it will end involvement in professional cycling after the 2019 season.
It's going to be the Tour de France, and going there to try and win a 5th Tour de France title.
You know, having won the Tour, #1 on my back, it'd be sad not to go back to it, really, and then not to go back 100% as well. So yeah, I think the year will be geared around that.
That's the latest sporting updates. More updates in our subsequent bulletins. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Warothekiru, with the latest from the sporting world. Now, even as we get comfortable into the new year, let's take a few steps back to the year that has been. 2018 has seen President Uhuru Kenyatta appoint high-achieving women to key positions in government, some that have gone down in history as the first women to hold these positions in the country. The president also went a step further to recognize women trailblazers and honored them for setting up various initiatives aimed at empowering women and the society at large since independence. Tonight or this afternoon, we spotlight these women achievers in our series 2018 Rewind.
Mimi naitwa
In early June, career broadcast journalist Kellen Kanze-Denner was appointed as the new Deputy State House spokesperson and Deputy Head of the Presidential Strategic Communication Unit, PSCU. In this newly created position, according to a statement sent to newsrooms by the Chief of Staff and Head of the President's Delivery Unit, Nzioka Waiter, Kanze-Denner's role was to take leadership and put focus on President Uhuru's brand positioning, messaging and media relations with respect to realizing the Big Four agenda. 39-year-old Kanze-Denner took up this position deputizing the then State House spokesperson Manoa Esipisu. At the same time, the Director of Press at State House, Munira Mohammed, also a former journalist, was promoted to Deputy Head of the PSCU and Head of the Presidential Library. Munira's role, among others, was to develop storylines and themes for both permanent and temporary public exhibitions, do research and collect material relevant to the Presidential Library. The statement went on to say that President Uhuru Kenyatta believed the two women leaders would bring diversity, dynamism and infuse new energy into the PSU while improving overall media relations with external stakeholders.
Nina mambo mawili ambayo ningependa kuwaeleza kwa wakati huu.
Critics were quick to note that the appointment of the two deputies was a strategic move in the succession plan at the PSCU. Although State House downplayed this narrative, in October, the head of state confirmed Kanze-Denner to the position of State House spokesperson and head of the President's Strategic Communication Unit, PSCU. This move followed the appointment of her predecessor, Manoa Esipisu, as Kenya's envoy to the United Kingdom in July of this year. This earned Kellen Kanze-Denner a spot in the history books as the first female State House spokesperson and head of PSCU in Kenya. July 2018 had another trailblazer making it into the history books. Fatuma Ahmed Gaiti became the first woman to be promoted to a Major General in the Kenya Defence Forces. Her promotion also included her role as Assistant Chief of the Defence Forces for Personnel and Logistics.
It is my pride and joy today. I'm looking to you and counting on you to be a positive role model to other women in this republic and to show and to prove to them that there is no limits for the Kenyan women and everything is possible.
Her 30-year-old journey to the highest-ranking female in the Kenya Defence Forces had been given a boost in August of 2015, where she was posted as the country's first female Army Brigadier. This subsequently earned her a Head of State commendation in December of 2017.
Nina furaha isiyo na kifani, manake inaonyesha sisi kina mama twaweza pia kuchangia katika mikakati ya usalama ya nchi hii.
Though there was a lot to appreciate in terms of talent at the Music Festival Winners Gala in Nyeri this August, a lot of chatter was around President Uhuru Kenyatta's new deputy aide-de-camp. Lieutenant Colonel Rachel Nduta Kamoi of the Kenya Air Force calmly shadowed the head of state, a position that most associate with men as the first ever female aide-de-camp in the history of the country. Colonel Nduta was appointed to work alongside her Navy counterpart Lieutenant Colonel Timothy Lekolol, who also became President Uhuru's personal assistant, helping him on security matters, protocol and matters of military tradition. Still on firsts, in August, President Uhuru Kenyatta hosted women from both the private and the public sector at State House, Nairobi.
President, I'm greatly honored that you made time from your very busy schedule to grace this wonderful occasion on this wonderful day on which we are celebrating the women trailblazers of Kenya and the launching of my book. It is possible.
He took the opportunity to honor over 20 women trailblazers with highest civilian awards in recognition of their various contributions to socio-economic and political spheres in Kenya.
Our mothers have been involved in Kenya's history at every stage of forging and building this nation.
Strides that the head of state agreed needed to be boosted by bridging the gender parity gap.
I do agree that it still remains for us to keep fighting for the 2/3 gender rule so that we ensure that none is left behind.
And the legislative proposal to enable the implementation of not more than 2/3 gender rule is now 8 years, Mr. Speaker, and it has not been passed.
Though the president and ODM leader Raila Odinga threw their weight behind the 2/3 gender rule that came up in Parliament for a third time, voting of the same was postponed due to a lack of quorum. With the next attempt coming up in February 2019, the jury is still out if this will be realized during President Kenyatta's final term in office. Gladys Gachanja, NTV. Well, thank you so much for joining us on NTV at 1 on this second day of the year 2019. My name is Gladys Gachanja. A lot more news coming your way in our comprehensive bulletins at 7 p.m. and at 9 p.m. We shall see you then. But before we do, make sure you do take care. Bye.